it was almost a pastime for people shooting on TNA and just making it the butt of the joke. So we brought Dixie onto U Shoot. Was a big was a coup for us because everyone was talking about it and they were critical of the product and Russo was there and um so we had her come on and had the fans ask the questions. And why though do you think it got such animosity from fans? Just because it wasn't WWE? Was the quality
No, the
that much worse
no, the
to
biggest
fans?
the biggest problem you had was it was the highest rated show on, I think at that time it was on Spike when I got there. Yet they would run 16 UFC ads during our fucking wrestling show, and then never once would you see anything TNA on Spike. Like there was like
They
they
didn't
didn't cross.
reciprocate and run promos
No.
for TNA during other
So
shows, you're
so when
saying.
that subliminally fucking makes you think like, oh, okay, this is when you never
Mm.
when your own fucking, that'd be like TBS and TNT just not ever covering a commercial for AEW. I mean, I can see why they would do it, but I'm just saying that would be like doing that.
Want to confirm something for you here. Jeff Jarrett said that a Walmart executive told him they'd make some shelf space for him if they could have a six-sided ring to put there next to the other ones because it was, I guess, different enough. So props to your point there.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Made me look like a dick.
And, I've watched Kurt Angle do some interviews, and people say, do you wish you would have? And Kurt says, well, I kind of wish I would have wrapped it up, you know, earlier than I did. But it's like Kurt was great. He said, I could see myself losing a step. But Kurt was so great that, yeah, maybe you could, Kurt, but nobody. I think Kurt is the greatest worker that has ever been in the business.
Why?
Because nobody had more 30-minute like people just don't. I guess they weren't privy to his run at TNA. And there's a lot. I think that's one thing that a lot of it, if and I guess because it's not out there on the network, that TNA era of that, yeah, those, the AJs, the Alex Shellys, the Save, the Homicide. I mean, all those there was so much talent in that locker room, and so much talent in that six-sided ring, and I just don't think that people, uh, that era of wrestling and TNA gets enough. What is it? What's the term they use? They don't get their flowers.
Yeah. Why? Just because it was always the bastard stepchild of WWE, or
Because WWE doesn't own it. They it's still its separate entity,
yeah.
and they don't have the, but of course, because Paul's so fucking smart, Paul fucking has a working agreement with TNA, and
But back
it's,
then, though, you're talking about.
I'm talking about back then when, yeah, there was, and there was a lot of things that happened. Like I remember when they decided they were going to go head to head with them on Mondays. Do you remember that?
TNA.
TNA went head to head live against Raw.
Yeah.
That's when Hogan came back. And we went
Oh,
to the
right. Yeah.
we went to the square ring, away from the six sided. Like we
Good
went away
move.
from everything. No, because that's what made TNA different.
Fucking the ring didn't make it different. I mean,
Yeah,
the ring was different, but
no, it made it different because the ropes were shorter, the top rope was tighter, and the guys that could fly, fucking could use anything like a platform. It completely was different.
for the viewer,
Fuck the viewer. The viewers, it's the worker. The viewer sits back and watches what we fucking paint. If we're painting a fucking masterpiece, then sit down and shut up and fucking take the six
I
sides.
thought the point of differentiation shouldn't have been the ring. It should have been everything else you would do. Now, you though, when you were in creative over there and you
I
started to,
was never in creative.
well, you were doing stuff
I was
with
doing
the
my
with the
fucking with my bullshit. I was doing
no,
comedy.
but the stuff with the like the documentary style stuff.
Yeah, paparazzi stuff.
Yeah. Um, no, but
That was
even the style, the way stuff was being shot, like the around the
oh
corner
yeah,
and
we
stuff,
shot
like
yeah.
those points of differentiation were great, and they resonated with the viewer. I think more so than just the shape of the ring.
But the shape of the ring was what when you went to Target, it you bought the six-sided ring because you already had 9,355 four-sided WWF rings or E.
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking in terms of the merch, but that's a good point,
No,
perhaps.
it's just that stood out more than anything as the difference between the two products.
Why did people then love any other wrestlers?
Um, no,
Okay.
Siriano was there for like Saturday.
Oh, what's her name? I knew her as
Paige.
Paige.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah. Wasn't she? I think she came up.
She was dating a rock and roll guy for a while. They just split up.
No, when we did the thing in Nashville, I think did she come up backstage? Someone came over.
Yeah, she and I.
Yeah.
Well, Scott like was the commissioner for her parents' wrestling company over in England, and
Ah.
Scott spent like a ton of time with them. So Scott was like family, and then when we ran into her, like we came up for something. It was in New York. It was a WWE thing. I think we did a thing with yeah, what's her name? Alexis. When she had that like she had like a show. It was on SmackDown. Me, Sean, and Scott did a segment with her.
Right.
And then that night at the bar, we hung out with uh, with her because of Scott knowing her so well. That was the first time like I ever had a chance to like just hang out with her. She's super cool. She's a good girl. She's got a book out. It just dropped a couple days ago. I don't know what the name
Talking
is.
about her lengthy career in wrestling.
Maybe well, just like, long enough to have a fucking movie done by Rock.
Um,
So
I wanted to ask you also how when you're doing the horror con specifically, uh, people dressed up?
not really.
No. Okay.
Like my whole thing is like I'm just always looking for the NWO shirts because I know that that's they're coming my way.